To all those people watching, I would like to remind everyone that this video is not made strictly for kids. It is for older fans and adults too. Enjoy the fucking video! This video is brought to you by my loyal patrons. Register now at any tier to watch new videos 1 month in advance before they're made public. Link is in the description. The European theatre of the Second World War was declared over by Churchill after Germany had surrendered unconditionally. Everyone across all of Europe, the mainland and Sodor celebrated that peace had returned at last. But despite all that, there was trouble. After 6 ravaging years of the war effort and with the effects of the Great Depression, the railway was in dire need of repairs after such neglect. "I want you all to work your hardest to get this railway back on its feet," Topham Hatt said to his engines proudly. "Yes, sir," they all said, and went to work at once. But despite their hard work, money was still tight, and Topham Hatt was trying to think of a way to gather more funds for the much-needed repairs. Sadly, he couldn't think of any solution, and so, after a long and tiring day, he closed up his office and went to the station to catch his train to Wellsworth. He was passing the newsstand when the shopkeeper called out to him and said, "Sir, have you seen the book about your engines?" "A book about my engines?" he pondered. "No, I haven't." The shopkeeper then took out a small rectangular book with a bright yellow dust jacket. On the cover were 3 engines, 2 looking happy and 1 sad. "These don't look like my engines." He then peered inside the book. He saw some stories that he remembered many years ago, such as Henry being bricked up in the tunnel, Edward coming out of his shed, and Gordon being stuck on his hill and Edward and Henry pulling Gordon's train after he had burst his safety valve. He then saw the name of the author under the book's title, Reverend W. Audrey? "Ah, yes, he was my publicity manager during the war. I wonder why he's written a book about my engines." "I hear it's selling well on the mainland, sir. I heard that lots of children who bought this are interested in your engines. The publishers had even asked me to see if they were real, sir." "You have given me a wonderful idea," replied Topham Hatt, smiling. He gave the shopkeeper his money and raced away to his train back to Wellsworth. If you ever visit the island of Sodor and are interested in the stories from the various railways, then you should visit the Railway Archives. It's a treasure trove of stories over the years with all of the engines across the island of Sodor, big or small. Let's take a look at all the stories that are a blast from the past for the engines of Sodor. Days had passed, and one day Wilbert came to see the fat director in his office. "Good day, Mr. Hatt. You want to see me for something in regard to my book?" "Mr. Audrey, good to see you. I read the book you made about my engines. It was very nice, and it brought back some good memories of a world that had no conflict." "Indeed," replied the thin clergyman happily. "I'm sorry for not asking for your permission to use them." "No worries at all, Wilbert. I'm very happy that my railway is getting some good exposure, despite the illustrations." "Don't remind me," agreed Wilbert, chuckling. "Anyway, regarding your book, my railway is not gathering sufficient funds to pay for the repairs that are much needed, and so I want you to be my publicity manager again," and then explained his reason. "This book is selling well on the mainland. My railway needs money to be repaired, and so I'm going to put Edward, Gordon and Henry on display at the big station for everyone to meet. They'll be charged 50p to see them. I want you to get clearance from your publishers since they thought that my railway was fictional, and I want you to promote this whole event to the people of Sodor and the mainland." "Certainly, sir," replied Wilbert happily. "I'll get on to the publishers right away." "Excellent, Wilbert," replied Topham happily. After much negotiating, they got clearance from the publishers, and both men began to draw up plans on how to gain this event's much-needed attention. Later the plans had been set, and Edward, Gordon and Henry were gathered at the big station. "I wonder what the fat director called us for?" questioned Henry. He soon got his answer. "We're in a book, sir?" "For children, sir?" asked Edward. "Indeed you are. Take a look." And he showed them the pictures. Gordon thought they looked terrible. "The engine doesn't even look like me," he expressed disdainfully. "I understand. But despite that, I want you all to be on display to promote the book. We are expecting a lot of people to see you three, and so I want you all polished up for the event." The 3 railway engines were pleased. "But what about our work?" asked Edward. "Don't worry. I'll let Thomas, James and Percy look after that." So the engines were polished, and when the day came, they were parked at the sheds. Plenty of people came, from children, parents and enthusiasts, and had charged their 50p to see the engines. They even got their books signed by the thin clergyman as well. The event carried on for a few days, until it was time for the engines to get back to work. The fat director and the thin clergyman looked over the money that they had made, but it was not what they expected. "We had fallen short," sighed Topham. "I don't have enough to pay for the repairs, and some of this money has to go to the publishers." "Don't worry, Topham. Every little thing helps," replied Wilbert. Another book was published, this time about Thomas, and it, along with the first book, became big sellers, and they even caught the attention of one man. Topham, now having the title of Sir, was in his office still trying to gather funds to repair the railway when the telephone rang. "Hello?" he asked. "This is Sir Topham Hatt speaking." "Good day, Mr. Hercombe. What may I help you with? Do you want to buy my railway to pay off the debt?" "Well, that sounds splendid, but my railway is not for sale. Are you willing to gain full ownership of the Normanby branch line instead?" "Well, I'll have to talk with my board members. I'll speak to you afterwards to see if we have a verdict." He spoke to the board and they all agreed with the idea, and so, after calling back Mr. Hercombe, arrangements were made. The next year, all the big 4 companies became British Railway, and Mr. Hercombe was the chairman of the whole operation under the Ministry of Transport in London. The North Western Railway became known as the North Western Region, but they kept their independence, much to the charging of some engines on the mainland. However, the Normanby branch line officially became a part of British Railways, and the money spent on the shares from Topham Hatt was enough to mend the railway itself. Now the railway was back in tip-top condition, and with more books about them being published, more and more people had come to visit the island to see them. Wilbert was happy to see this too. "A pity that the event wasn't the cause of all this, Topham," he sighed. "A pity indeed. But your books and the event had definitely gotten the much-needed attention from Mr. Hercombe that he managed to pay off the debt. A good friend had said this to me once. Every little thing helps."